And good day, this is Jamie Shell with the Avery Journal-Times here with the Viking Coaches Show, brought to you by Johnson Entertainment Group, Kenny Johnson, and all of his fine folks working to do anything as far as your staging needs goes. He can play the instrument, he can set up the stage, he can do everything you need to do, probably even sell the tickets and pop the popcorn if I had to guess. But Kenny does so much, stays really busy, also spends time coaching as well with with some of our youth sports. I just appreciate Kenny and his sponsorship and commitment to being part of our programs here as we bring these coaches shows to you. Also, we appreciate our venue here, Big Mike's Coffee Shop, here located on Pinola Street in Doolan. Lots of their Valentine's menu out right now. Their hot items, cold items here, muffins, other food items really have expanded here since their recent move over to this facility here on Pinola Street. Just a gorgeous spot. I think 633 Pinola Street is the physical address. Please come by and check them out and say hello to Mike and Jackie and tell them we sent you. Probably won't get you anything, but at least you can say that you saw it here. And I appreciate you all being part of our broadcast as well. Here, of course, with the Vikings head varsity boys basketball coach John Gage and one of his players, senior guard Jaxton Boone. Appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to me today.
Thanks for having us.
Just want to recap a little bit our last conversation on Friday. We were getting ready for the matchup with Mitchell. Of course, played Mitchell on Friday, and really it seemed like put together one of your better games of the season against the Mountaineers, especially when you look at the second and third quarters. You really kind of tore open a tie game there and just was really able to get a workable lead and really kind of put that game away. Can you speak a little bit about some of the things you felt went really well, Coach, about that matchup with Mitchell and kind of things you all were able to exploit, take advantage of?
I was very proud of it. Like you said, it was a back and forth game early on, and we kind of piece by piece sort of pulled away a bit at a time. I was really impressed and proud of my team's tenacity on the defensive end of the court. I thought that was the most energetic we've been on that end of the court all season in terms of flying around, which is something we've really tried to hammer home in the past couple of weeks is, being active, keeping ourselves long, making our clogging passing lanes, being disruptive, and really just trying to let defense create our offense. And we kind of put that into practice on the court yesterday, and not yesterday, on Friday. But I was very pleased with the results there. I thought we got them out of rhythm. Their shooters were forcing shots, not taking clean shots because of some of the energy we had on the defensive end. And also how unselfish we were with the ball. Creating shots for other guys. We had multiple guys get into double-digit scoring for us. I think that's a testament to the ball movement we had. And also getting out in transitions, which is what we're always looking to do. So being able to create shots for other guys. So unselfishness and just the effort on the defensive end were what really stood out to me in that game.
I know, Jaxton, for you as well, some of your responsibility involves kind of distributing the basketball, shooting when you need to shoot it. You've had a pretty good percentage shooting from beyond the three-point arc this season. A couple of games where you had, I think, 9 points against Ashe County, another 9-pointer here about a week or so ago. Can you speak about how important it is for you to spread the ball around? Because there's only one basketball, but as Coach said, you have 4 guys in double figures. How important is it to kind of have that kind of unselfish mentality out there on the floor?
Yes, sir. It's super significant because, without anybody being able to distribute the ball, it's really important to get people on their buckets and get us, transition layups. That's kind of my job as a point guard, is to get the offense set up and get them the bucket that they need.
Also, I know you tend to help out, I guess, with some of the switches and things of that nature with defense. I know you've had to guard some of the better players on opposing teams this season as well. Can you speak about the pride you take in your defense and being able to shut down an opposing player?
It's kind of my bread and butter is defense. That's what I mainly enjoy, getting a bunch of ball deflections. I believe I was really active against Mitchell, disrupting their defense. And that's kind of my favorite is no one be playing hard defense.
Of course, looking back one more time there, the Mitchell contest, you mentioned 4 guys in double figures. You had Hank with 21, you had Blaine with 18, Oak Markland with 14. Oak really kind of stepping his game up after the contest where you kind of had him coming in as your 6th man. It seems like that's really kind of jump-started him a little bit, I guess, for you. And also you had Max Millard with 12. You had 12 of them all in the first half against Mitchell. As far as what you did, were you able to – was the thought going into that game – really, let's pound inside, let's get some of our taller guys involved, get our bigger guys down low to kind of match up with them, as they really didn't have a very tall individual in their lineup or necessarily. So did you feel like that was an area that you all be able to really make some hay with?
To be honest with you, that's sort of been a point of emphasis that we tried to establish all season long. These guys didn't just become 6'6", 6'7".
Right,
We've been trying to establish that all season. But it's something that is definitely a point of emphasis that we've tried to hammer home over the course of the season, is getting the ball into the paint. And really that's been a point of emphasis in the past couple of weeks, is not just off of post-entry passes, but off of swings, trying to attack, get 2 feet into the paint, try to get either a layup, an attack at the rim, or draw defense and kick out, look for one more. But good things happen when you get the ball into the paint. You collapse the defense and you create shots for yourself. So that's something we've really hammered home in the past couple of weeks. And, we did a good job of looking for that pass in the past game. And yeah, we're going to run into a lot of situations where we have a size advantage, and it's not just from the post position, but we got some bigger guards as well, so we'll have matchups that we like if we will look for it. But I feel like something we've done a poor job of in the games that have gotten away from us is settling for shots when we haven't had good ball movement, where we haven't got paint touches and we're shooting contested shots from outside. And when that happens, there's nobody in offensive rebound position. You find yourself in situations where you give up runouts on the other end because you put yourself in a runout situation. So I think just taking better quality shots in general all starts with getting the ball into the paint. So yeah, I was very pleased with that. I thought that was the best shot we've done all season, of being intentional about getting it there. So yeah, hopefully that's something we can sustain moving forward. It's certainly something we're emphasizing right now.
Y'all are standing now at 8-7, I believe it is, on the season. Is that right? 8-7 overall.
Right.
Last year was like a 14-12 overall record. So it kind of shaping up kind of similarly. But what can you do? What do you feel like you guys are able to do here in this home stretch now as you start the second half of this conference schedule to kind of build up and kind of build some wins up and being able to kind of improve upon that record, which eventually will lead to a good seed in the conference tournament, which hopefully leads to a good seed and maybe home matchups in the state playoffs?
It's kind of like we talked about the last time we talked, where we're kind of approaching with that one game at a time mentality, where we're focused on who's next. And so right now it's very much a beat Madison mindset is what we're hammering home in practice and in pregame stuff and talking. We're not really looking beyond that. And if we continue to approach it one game at a time, we're hoping that the good result will follow. We're very much looking at this second half of the conference slate in general as sort of a revenge tour. We feel like there's a lot of games that we did not come out on the winning end of that we should have. And so we definitely have a chip on our shoulder in that regard, that we have something to prove. And we're going to continue to take that approach of one day at a time. And I think that, we have the capability in terms of what we have in the locker room and on the court to play with anybody in our conference. And that's sort of the mentality that we have. But, we're not going to look too far ahead. We're going to be focused on what's ahead of us. But if we continue to do the right things, get the ball into the paint, be super active and disruptive on the defensive end, then I think good results will come. But we got to stay focused on that process rather than looking too far down the road.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at this evening's game as we're speaking. Sure. You travel to Madison to take on the Patriots. Already played them here in Newland and lost by a score of 55-49 in that matchup. Markland did not play in that game. I know he was injured or out and wasn't able to play in that game. Ill wasn't able to play as part of that game. And, of course, Hank had another strong game, had 23 in that matchup. Was the only player in double figures, though. So as far as just that goes. And then I'm going to direct this to Jaxton. Gavin Galt for Madison. It seems like a tough matchup. He had 28 in that first game, and I know he's really their bread and butter when it comes to their offensive end of the floor. Can you speak about the challenges that exist in trying to guard a guy who's able to create a shot like Galt can?
I mean, yeah, he's able to, shoot pull-up jumper, finish the rim, and shoot outside. So, I mean, he's kind of got it all. But I believe if we really just shut him down and keep him, I mean, they don't really have any other scorer that can do what he does.
Without giving away any secrets, kind of how do you try to make a player like that uncomfortable? And that's for either of you to answer as well. How do you make a player like that uncomfortable?
Honestly, personally, I would just try to get in his head because, I mean, he can do about anything. But if you get in his head, that can tear up anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I think to that end, I think you just want to make him uncomfortable. And, what we did a really poor job of, I think the first time we played him particularly was transition defense. We really let him get going. And, they've played him more at the one this season. They played him as a wing in the past. So let him go coast to coast. I mean, the average guys are going to finish well when that's the case. When you have one of the better players in the conference doing that, then he's going to get his. So getting the ball stopped early, keeping him in front of us, and making sure that we have bodies ready to help on the weak side is going to be critical. I think the mentality's got to be that you've got to let somebody else prove they can beat you beyond him. And so just showing him a lot of different looks, making him uncomfortable, having multiple guys guard him to sort of wear him down. I think that's sort of the key to containing him. But, Gavin's a heck of a player. And, Coach Allison does a really good job over there at Madison. It's a tough place to play. So it's a challenge for sure. But but I think just being disruptive and trying to make him uncomfortable is the biggest key.
What role do you think tempo is going to play tonight? I know, again, with you guys only 55-49 for you guys, it's a kind of a low scoring.
For sure.
It gives the idea that it's a slow pace, methodical, half court kind of game. And I got the impression seeing that first game that's the kind of game Madison wants, which means you guys are trying to speed them up. So what will you do differently this time to try to speed the contest up and try to dictate tempo?
Well, you hit on it, and Jaxton would be the first one to tell you. We spend a lot of time in practice on transition, both transition offense and transition defense. We want to go fast. I mean, there's no secret to that. And, Madison did a phenomenal job of dictating the tempo, and that was one of the keys to the game as well. I think it's really nothing complicated. It's just understanding what we're trying to do, getting out and running our lanes. And, I'll never be one to make excuses, but, Oak running the 2-lane that's a big deal to our transition offense, and not having him in that role sort of diminished that a little bit. He is such a threat to catch and attack the paint and draw defense through that. So that in and of itself will be huge, but also everybody else doing their job, understanding their lanes. Our bigs running the rim consistently to take the pressure off the middle, and even and out stretching out the back end of the transition defense is huge too. So just as simple as getting the ball out quickly off of a rebound and running your lane. That offensively, defensively, I think we can put a little bit more pressure on the basketball, and you can and dictating the tempo really does start with the defense. We weren't active getting deflections, getting steals, because once you're doing that, once you're creating those turnovers, you're able to get out in transition. So I think just being more aggressive on the defensive end of the court and just doing our job and executing our transition offense the way we work on every day.
Jaxton, how confident are you guys now that you've been able to get a couple of conference wins under your belt, and now you're able to kind of taste that and get you back over 500? Y'all started really well. Started I think 5-1 or so on the season, and then kind of a little bit struggle with some of these really good teams in the Western Highlands Conference, which again seems like teams just beat each other up in our conference. It just seems like that's the way it goes. But how confident are you guys as players on the floor that you can achieve the goals that you all want to achieve by the end of this regular season and into the postseason?
Oh yeah, we had a strong start, 5-1, and then went on a smaller game losing streak. We lost like 6 out of the 7 games.
Something like that.
Yeah. Well,
you would find a way to work in 6-7.
Yeah. Anyways, I think we're very confident because we find that mentality to take one game at a time. Yeah. And once we focus on that one game and not worry about take a team lightly and worry about the next game, focus on that one game, and it really builds us to beat this team by a good margin. So.
Playing at Madison is not an easy place to play. Of course, we talk about not just their team, but the venue. It seems like shooting in that backdrop there in that venue isn't easy. How do you prepare for something like that when you only see it once, maybe twice with the conference tournament this year, I guess, a season? What challenges does that kind of situation pose as far as a gym, which, to be perfectly honest, not always very full when you're playing either, but a nice gym, no offense to the folks in Madison. I like the gym, I really do. But it does it's kind of its own unique character too, much like ours is. So when you go down there, how do you prepare for that? Just even that part of the game, as a player or coach, either one.
Okay. So it is I don't want to say unusual gym. It's just an old school gym, and that's what I love about it. For sure, the backboards are kind of interesting. The bounce that they have off of them there. I know, every year when I was coaching JV, we would always miss our first layup on the goals. I think it's just sort of an adjustment to the backboards for some reason. I'll say this, and it sounds simplistic, but it's my favorite saying in basketball, so I'll say it all the time. Defense travels to every gym, and so you'll eventually adjust to the feel of the rims and the backboard and everything like that. But if you set the tone on the defensive end of the court to start out with, play with the energy, that's going to get you comfortable. And defense will create layups, and that, and hopefully you can make those layups. But you would think high school teams eventually you get enough open layups, you'll make them. But I think that it just all starts with setting the tone on the defensive end, and that'll get you comfortable. That'll get the adrenaline going, and you'll be able to get into your offensive looks. So, but it definitely is an interesting, difficult place to play. But I think it just comes out with the mentality you take and really setting the tone on the defensive end of the court.
Okay. Health-wise, how are you guys feeling? I know, you get through 15 games already of a season. You probably start having a little bumps and bruises, little aches and pains. How are you guys physically? I know it seems like I'll use Hank as an example just because you visibly see him wearing now. He's went from tape to now wearing kind of a brace to help him. How is he health-wise? Seems like it's not affecting his shot per se. And I think Landon was also wearing something, I want to say, on Friday as well. Can you speak a little bit just kind of how you guys are physically right now?
Sure. In general, the boys are beat up, but not to the any like extenuating circumstance. Like it's not debilitating. They they feel it after the game, but with the adrenaline flowing in the game and everything, I wouldn't say they're 100% by any means, but they're functional, and they're able to play to their capability. It doesn't like you see them out in practice and things like that. They're able to do the stuff they normally do. We've had some guys sick and injured. It's funny, I think over the course of the season that the number of times we've actually played with a full roster like of everybody is actually kind of scary how few times we played. We seem to always have somebody out, but no, in terms of health, everybody's good that we have and ready to go. Some guys are a little beat up and banged up, but overall everybody's capable of playing right now.
Of course, as we're recording this, we were informed about the change of schedule regarding the games with Owen on Friday. Those games now have been moved to Thursday, according to the athletic department.
Do you even know that yet, or you just learned that right now?
Just learning it right
now. I
now.
have not told my team.
I just learned about it before coming over here. That got a call from, of course, athletic director Benny Welburn let us know that. And, of course, if you follow wrestling as well, the conference tournament, also over at Madison, is now being played on Thursday as well, I think because there's a little fear about some kind of winter storm or something, but I'll believe it when I see it. That's what I always like to say this time. But anyways, those games moved to Thursday. Any logistical issues that affect you with the fact that you have to play that a day earlier, coming off a road trip, and then kind of just getting maybe one practice in as opposed to two following that?
I don't think so necessarily. I think obviously you'd like to have two practices to prepare as opposed to one, but I think that having played Owen already previously, it's not something where we're going in blind. We know what to expect with them. So I think that we'll have plenty of time to be able to work on our stuff and work on our game plan related things in one practice. So, it's not necessarily the most convenient thing, but it's also kind of the nature of the beast here, a lot of 3-game weeks that end up materializing. And so you just kind of have to, just like in a game, you just got to respond to that adversity and, handle it. So I think we'll be all right.
I don't mean to look ahead, but I want to ask Jaxton about Asante Martin a little bit. He's kind of one of those do-everything kind of players for Owen, much like Gavin Gall is with Madison. But Asante had a good contest. He seems like he always plays well against Avery. I don't know why, but he seems to have a really solid game ever since he's a freshman. He has. Can you speak about the difficulty in kind of having to play a guy like him and just kind of what his abilities kind of allow him to do that you guys are hoping as a team on the floor that you can kind of limit or curtail a little bit?
He can pretty much do anything. He can handle the ball, shoot it very well, and he rebounds well for his size. Gets boards over us sometimes, but shouldn't allow that. But I don't know. He's a great ball player. Any way to stop him, just deny him the ball. When he gets the ball, he can about do anything with it. But I think we can do good against him this Friday if we really lock him up.
Okay. Since you have a player's perspective, I want to ask you kind of a question. I haven't used this question all season, but Jaxton, if there was a player in our conference that you had to pay to watch and who would it be? What player in our conference would you pay to watch? And it can't be yourself, because obviously you wouldn't pay yourself. But anyways, outside of your team, maybe someone else in the conference, you're like, yeah, I really like that person's game and how they kind of operate on the floor. Is there a player that comes to mind that you're like, yeah, I'd like to see that? Not even have to be a conference player. It could be somebody out of conference even.
That's a great question. That's a hard question. I have no clue. Just a certain player.
I figure I ask you about some of these individual players like a Gavin Gall, like an Asante Martin, of course.
To be honest, probably Asante. He's the one who's been having a breakout season this year. He's been doing great. It's probably the only one, though. Him or probably Hank Johnson, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's our best scorer on our team. So, yeah.
And let's say you've got a pretty dynamic player on your roster as well as a teammate. I know trying to get him the ball and get your other teammates the ball can't be easy sometimes with only one ball on the floor. But how do you balance that between you also looking for your own shot offensively and trying to be freed up? That balance, see, as a point guard, the balance between trying to distribute a basketball versus, this is an opportunity for me to kind of get mine one time or two times. I know, I'm sure the coaches probably said to you, be a little more selfish sometimes, because it seems like you're very unselfish with the basketball on the floor. So how do you kind of balance that?
I don't know, just good movement off the ball, trying to get open, off ball screens, and that's really about it.
Do you prefer man-to-man over zone defense?
I prefer zone.
You prefer zone, okay. Coach, I think you might differ about that. I just have this weird feeling that you're more of a man-to-man player or coach. But. There you go. Junk defenses? You got a favorite junk defense by chance?
Their 0 defense is good, and their 15 press is good.
Okay. So just the press, the helter-skelter version where you're just everybody rotating and, you try to get that ball. But, again, we got Owen coming up on Thursday. Beg your pardon, Thursday now. And, of course, tonight with Madison. We don't want to overlook those guys. But, again, hopefully, what will a couple of wins mean this week to you guys, just to be able to continue to improve upon your record and kind of start moving up those conference standings? I know at 2-4 right now, you're looking up at least 2 or 3 teams, I think, right now. So to be able to catch up to those guys, because there's still plenty of conference season left to do that.
Sure. I think it would be huge just in terms of continuing the positive momentum. I think that we continue to build on the things that we're emphasizing, which is, focusing on one game at a time and building piece by piece, and being super disruptive and active on the defensive end of the court, recognizing what a good shot is, not settling for an average or not a good shot, a great shot, not settling for an average or good shot, but creating a great shot for ourselves. And that all starts with getting the ball into the paint. So just playing the way that we want to play, getting out, not letting teams dictate the tempo, us dictating the tempo. But yeah, I think that this would be a good opportunity for us to continue building that piece by piece, because like I said earlier, in my opinion, we are capable of beating any team that we play in the conference. So this is very much a revenge tour of us to get back on the right track and still create something special at the season, which I feel like we have the opportunity to do.
Of course, playing Madison tonight down in Marshall. It's kind of a media desert down there, so we hope that we'll be able to have some kind of a scoring information, something later on this evening. You never know what you'll find out there, but I hope you'll continue to check in with us. And also, we will have the post-game report coming up after the game with Owen on Thursday, where we may be recapping both these games during that post-game report. But again, we appreciate Coach Gage, we appreciate Jaxton, both of you guys come and talk to us, and look forward to seeing you all this evening and seeing you all continue to do well and get some revenge on some of these teams. Again, Madison and Owen, opportunity to get games back and get season splits with them after their first round in the conference play. Again, we appreciate Big Mike's Coffee Shop for hosting us here each week for our coaches show. Also, Kenny Johnson and Johnson Entertainment Group for their staging. Any needs you have in that respect, he'll come play guitar for you. Like I said, he'll pop the popcorn, he'll sell the tickets, he can do a little bit of everything for you. He really is just a jack of all trades. So we appreciate Kenny, appreciate his sponsorship of these shows every week, as well as these post game reports that we have, and any specials we do over the course of time too. So again, thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you down the road. And until then, so long for now.